In the quiet village of Nkoranza, rested in the heart of Ghana, whispers of scandal and redemption now surrounded the life of Reverend Sister Evan. But years before, she had been a beacon of hope, an emblem of faith and commitment. Her journey had begun with a quiet strength, but hidden secrets and forbidden love had threatened to dismantle everything she held dear. The tale of how a revered sister's fall from grace became a story of resilience, faith, and the unyielding power of redemption would grip anyone who heard it. If you are new on this channel, kindly like and subscribe to our channel to get new update. Reverend Sister Evan's journey began in the vibrant city of Kumasi, Ghana, where she was born into a devout Catholic family. Her childhood was steeped in religious traditions, with her mother, Mother Pauline, being a strict disciplinarian who believed that a woman's greatest role was as a wife and mother. Reverend Sister Evan, however, found solace and inspiration within the church. She was captivated by the stories of saints and the tranquility of the chapel, where the flickering candles and stained glass windows filled her with a sense of purpose. Reverend Sister Evan carried her rosary everywhere. It was her talisman, a symbol of her devotion and faith. Even as a child, she would hold it tightly during Mass, the smooth beads slipping through her fingers as she whispered prayers under her breath. It remained with her as she grew, becoming a tangible reminder of her commitment to God and, later, her internal struggle. "You'll marry a good man and raise a family, just like I did," Mother Pauline often said. But Reverend Sister Evan's heart was set on a different path. Her father, a quieter but supportive figure, would occasionally smile and say, "Let her find her own way, Pauline." Despite her mother's disapproval, Reverend Sister Evan's resolve only strengthened as she grew older. She dreamed of dedicating her life to the church, inspired by the nuns she admired in her local parish. Reverend Sister Evan's fascination with the church went beyond the rituals. She often found herself drawn to the stories of self-sacrifice and unwavering faith. By the time she was a teenager, she had made up her mind to join the convent, a decision that set her on a path of conflict and devotion. The chapel at St. Peter's Seminary became her sanctuary. The stained glass windows painted her world in colors of hope and sacrifice, while the soft hum of hymns echoed her deepest desires. Reverend Sister Evan's childhood was not without its challenges. As the eldest of 5 siblings, she often had to take on responsibilities that matured her at a young age. She would wake up early to fetch water from the local well, help her siblings get ready for school, and assist her mother in preparing kenki and groundnut soup, a family staple. These moments instilled in her a sense of discipline and compassion that later defined her character. Sundays were reserved for Mass, where she would often sing in the choir, her clear, melodic voice earning her admiration in the community. At Akimota School, Reverend Sister Evan excelled academically, especially in religious studies, where her passion for theology set her apart. It was here she met Reverend Father Roland, a charismatic and intelligent young man who shared her love for Scripture. While Reverend Sister Evan was serious and focused, Reverend Father Roland was outgoing, his charm drawing people to him effortlessly. They often found themselves debating theological concepts late into the night, their conversations flowing naturally under the mango trees on campus. The mango tree became their confidant, its sprawling branches providing shade for their whispered discussions about faith and the future. It was under this tree that their connection deepened, though they never spoke of love directly. The tree stood as a witness to their unspoken promises and unacknowledged affection. Reverend Father Roland's upbringing in Cape Coast was vastly different from Reverend Sister Evan's. The son of a fisherman and a seamstress, Reverend Father Roland grew up surrounded by the rhythms of the sea and the bustling life of the coastal town. He was a natural leader, often organizing games and events for the younger children in his neighborhood. His father's hard work and his mother's resilience taught him the value of persistence and humility. Reverend Father Roland's decision to join the seminary surprised many in his community. but those close to him recognized his deep sense of empathy and a desire to serve. "You're too rigid in your views, Evan," Reverend Father Roland would tease. "Faith is about balance, not just rules." "And you're too carefree," Reverend Sister Evan would counter with a smile. "This is serious." Their bond deepened over time, though they kept their feelings unspoken. Both were determined to join the seminary after graduation, believing their love for God would outweigh any personal desires. Reverend Father Roland's easygoing nature complemented Reverend Sister Evan's seriousness, creating a partnership that thrived on their differences. Their classmates often joked about their connection, though neither of them ever confirmed the rumors. At St. Peter's Seminary in Kumasi, the discipline was rigorous. Early morning prayers, theological lectures, and strict rules governed every aspect of life. Reverend Sister Evan and Reverend Father Roland thrived academically, but their unspoken bond persisted. They often stole moments in the chapel or during study sessions, their connection growing stronger despite their efforts to suppress it. One evening, after a particularly intense day of lectures, Reverend Sister Evan found herself alone in the chapel. Reverend Father Roland entered quietly and sat beside her. For a moment, neither spoke. Finally, Reverend Father Roland broke the silence. "Do you ever wonder if this is what we are truly meant to do?" he asked softly. Reverend Sister Evan hesitated before replying. "I think about it every day. But faith requires sacrifice." "Maybe some sacrifices are too great," Reverend Father Roland murmured. His words lingered in her mind long after he left. Years later, they were both assigned to St. Mary's Cathedral in Accra. By this time, they had mastered the art of concealing their feelings. Reverend Sister Evan became known for her fiery sermons on morality, her voice echoing through the grand church, as she implored young women to remain pure. Reverend Father Roland, with his calm demeanor, was a beloved confidant to the congregation. In the cathedral, they were guided by Reverend Father Mensa, a seasoned clergyman who became a mentor to Reverend Sister Evan. Reverend Father Mensa's wisdom and encouragement helped her refine her sermons and connect with the congregation. "Have a gift, Evan," he once said. "Use it wisely, and you will touch many lives." The cathedral's altar became a symbol of her dedication, its golden chalice a reminder of the faith she had vowed to uphold. Despite their outward composure, the weight of their secret grew heavier. Reverend Sister Evan's guilt was compounded by her sermons, where she often spoke passionately against temptation. The rosary she held during these sermons seemed heavier, the beads burning against her palms, as if reminding her of the hypocrisy she carried. Their hidden relationship took a toll on Reverend Sister Evan. When she discovered she was pregnant for the first time, fear consumed her. She confided in Reverend Father Roland, who was equally terrified. "We can't let anyone find out," he said. "It would ruin everything." Reverend Sister Evan made the painful decision to terminate the pregnancy, a choice that haunted her for years. She visited a small clinic on the outskirts of the city, her heart heavy with guilt and shame. Each time she preached about purity afterward, the weight of her hypocrisy grew heavier. "Do you think God will ever forgive me?" Reverend Sister Evan asked Reverend Father Roland one night, her voice breaking. "I believe he already has," Reverend Father Roland replied. "But can you forgive yourself?" Dada, a Bible teacher, and Reverend Sister Evan's closest friend, noticed the change in her demeanor. "Are you okay?" Dada asked one evening as they prepared for a youth seminar. Reverend Sister Evan forced a smile. "Just tired. It's been a long week." Dada nodded, but her concern lingered. She admired Reverend Sister Evan deeply, often looking to her for guidance. "You're an inspiration to so many of us," she said. Those words felt like a dagger to Reverend Sister Evan's heart. The tension between maintaining appearances and living her truth began to weigh heavily on Reverend Sister Evan. Dada's admiration became a constant reminder of the double life she led. The turning point came one quiet evening after a church gathering. Reverend Father Emmanuel, a senior priest, realized he had left his phone in the dressing room. Retracing his steps, he walked through the empty corridors, his footsteps echoing against the stone walls. As he neared the dressing room, faint voices reached his ears. Curious, he pushed open the door and froze. Reverend Sister Evan and Reverend Father Roland were together, their clothes disheveled. Reverend Father Roland's cassock was unbuttoned, and Reverend Sister Evan's veil lay discarded on the table. The intimacy of the moment left no room for doubt. The fallout was swift and devastating. News of the scandal spread like wildfire, shaking the congregation to its core. Reverend Sister Evan and Reverend Father Roland were dismissed from their positions, and their reputations shattered. Dada, upon hearing the news, confronted Reverend Sister Evan, her voice trembling with anger and betrayal. "How could you?" she demanded. "You were my guide, my friend. How could you betray everything you preached?" Reverend Sister Evan could only bow her head, unable to meet Dada's gaze. Mother Pauline's reaction was a mixture of anger and sorrow. "I told you this path would bring you nothing but pain," she said. But over time, her anger softened, and she offered her daughter a chance at reconciliation. "I was wrong to push you so hard," Pauline admitted. "But I hope you find your way again." Reverend Sister Evan and Reverend Father Roland found solace in each other, though the road ahead was fraught with challenges. Their work at the orphanage became a beacon of hope, the laughter of the children there filling the void left by their past mistakes. Reverend Sister Evan and Reverend Father Roland relocated to a smaller community outside Accra to start a new life. The beautiful town, between rolling hills and sprawling farmlands, offered them a sense of peace they hadn't felt in years. They began volunteering at a local school, teaching and mentoring young children. The children's bright smiles and eagerness to learn became a source of healing for Reverend Sister Evan and Reverend Father Roland. The school was underfunded and in dire need of resources, but Reverend Sister Evan and Reverend Father Roland poured their energy into making it a welcoming place for the children. Reverend Sister Evan taught reading and moral lessons, often weaving in stories from her own life to inspire resilience and determination. Reverend Father Roland focused on practical skills, teaching the older children carpentry and farming techniques that could support their families. Their dedication didn't go unnoticed. The local community began to trust and respect them, seeing their genuine efforts to make a difference. Redemption. Years later, against all odds, Evan gave birth to twins, Kofi and Abina. The joy of parenthood brought healing and a renewed sense of purpose. "They are our second chance," Evan said, cradling her newborns. "They are everything we prayed for." Parenthood brought new challenges, but also deep fulfillment. Kofi and Abina grew up in a household filled with love and lessons on resilience. Evan and Roland shared their story with their children, teaching them about the importance of honesty and forgiveness. Dada eventually reached out to Evan, seeking closure. "I was angry, but I never stopped caring about you," she said. Their reconciliation was a moment of healing for both. As Evan and Roland watched their children play in the yard, they reflected on their journey. "Do you remember how it all started, Roland?" Evan asked. "I do," he replied, his eyes filled with love. "And I wouldn't change a thing." Their story became an inspiration to others in their community. Evan and Roland often spoke at events, sharing their journey as a testament to the power of love, forgiveness, and faith. They emphasized the importance of facing one's mistakes and finding redemption through selfless actions. Their work with orphanages expanded, bringing hope to countless children. Helping them helps us heal, Evan often said. It's our way of giving back what we've learned. Mother Pauline, now elderly, became a proud grandmother and a vocal supporter of Evan's mission. I was wrong to doubt you, she admitted during a family gathering. You've shown me what true faith looks like. The family's bond grew stronger with time, creating a foundation of love and support that carried them through life's challenges. Kofi and Abina, inspired by their parents, pursued careers in social work, continuing the legacy of service. As the years passed, Evan and Roland found peace in the simple joys of life. Their porch became a gathering place for family and friends, a symbol of the love and resilience that had carried them through their journey. Their story, marked by trials and triumphs, stood as a testament to the enduring power of love, forgiveness, and faith. In the quiet of the evening, with the laughter of their children filling the air, Evan and Roland finally found the peace they had long sought. Thanks for watching. This story was written and edited by Season of Love.
In times of joy, His name I raise. In times of sorrow, I still give praise. His promise forever, my life's true phrase. Living in His truth all my days. I'm walking through valleys, shadows won't stay, but His rod and staff